Welcome to the Hindu Daily. Let's dive into something foundational, really, to any functioning democracy: electoral integrity. Our sources today reveal a striking truth. It's not just about the Election Commission of India, the ECI, doing its job.
Right.
There's a surprising, almost quiet complicity from political parties themselves that kind of allows the system to decay.
Hmm.
We're talking about pervasive discrepancies in voting lists, inaccurate details, duplication, even ghost voters.
Yeah, those are serious problems.
They really are. And these aren't just like clerical errors. They create openings for fraud and ultimately chip away at public trust. It really makes you reflect on how far the ECI has, fallen from its mighty peak in the 1990s.
Under T.N. Seshan, yeah. It was seen as incredibly credible then.
Exactly. One of the most credible institutions.
Yeah.
Now it feels shrouded in a greater opacity and deepening suspicion.
Yeah, and what's really insightful here, I think, is understanding that shift in how political parties operate.
Yeah.
Think back to traditional campaigning.
It's old school stuff.
Yeah, labor-intensive, person-to-person, lots of house visits, those lively street corner meetings. But today, the drive for efficiency has pushed parties towards digital communication, social media, targeted calls, even, AI chatbots.
Which feels more direct, maybe.
It creates this compelling, almost seductive illusion of connection, right, where top leaders appear to engage personally with voters. But the crucial byproduct, the downside, is the neglect of that vital local party infrastructure. It's a paradox, really. What seems efficient at the top ironically aids power centralization and, at the grassroots, weakens the very engagement that forms the bedrock of democratic checks and balances.
So this digital transformation, while it offers reach, it inadvertently creates this void where that crucial human, local connection used to be. Sounds like a double-edged sword for democracy itself.
Precisely. And this is where booth-level agents, or BLAs, become absolutely critical.
Explain those quickly.
Sure. For those unfamiliar, BLAs are essentially the eyes and ears of political parties on the ground. They act as a direct link between parties, voters, and the ECI at the local level. And the system, it does have built-in safeguards.
Like what?
Well, for instance, a BLA can only file a maximum of 10 applications for voter registration or changes in a single day.
Okay.
And if they submit more than 30 applications during a revision period, the electoral registration officer is actually mandated to personally cross-verify each one. So on paper, it's a robust system designed to prevent mass manipulation.
Yeah, yet despite these rules, we've seen massive irregularities. Mahadevapura in Karnataka is a stark example, right? With large-scale discrepancies reported.
Yeah.
So it forces us to ask, if the safeguards are so robust, what specific loopholes or, systemic pressures are enabling such large-scale problems? Is it just bad enforcement or maybe something more insidious?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? The Mahadevapura case makes you wonder, were BLAs simply asleep at the wheel? Or was there perhaps a systematic institutional bias at play, maybe favoring the incumbent? But the article suggests this very controversy actually presents an unexpected opportunity.
So?
It's a chance for parties to revitalize those dormant local units. Electoral roll revisions, they seem mundane, right? Just administrative tasks. But they are absolutely fundamental for healthy democratic functioning.
So a wake-up call?
Potentially. We're seeing a positive example in Kerala, apparently, where heightened awareness is prompting parties to scrutinize draft rolls much more diligently. It shows that vigilance from local organizations is indispensable, not just for the integrity of an election, but for the inherent health of democracy itself.
And for you, the listener.
Yeah, for you, the voter, this highlights the profound importance of actively verifying your own voter details, because the system, for all its rules, still relies on informed engagement from every single level.
Okay. From the mechanics of a healthy democracy, let's pivot now to something deeply unsettling within the justice system: custodial violence.
Very serious issue.
Extremely. Our next source spotlights an observation from the Chhattisgarh High Court regarding a custodial death, where police officers appeared to have intended to teach a lesson to the victim.
That phrase, yeah.
The facts are chilling. A Dalit man arrested for public misbehavior dies in custody just hours after a completely clean medical checkup. Yet his post-mortem revealed a horrific 26 wounds.
26.
Yeah. The trial court convicted for murder, but the high court reduced it to culpable homicide. And when I read that phrase, to teach a lesson, it hit me. It's such a casual phrase, but it opens up this abyss of problematic institutional mindset. Can you break down why that particular phrasing is so, Chilling.
It's chilling because when we place this in the broader context, this kind of judicial language is incredibly dangerous. Teaching a lesson is not by any stretch a constitutional principle.
Right, it sounds like something else entirely.
It's rooted entirely in vigilante logic. It subtly normalizes state violence, essentially inviting officers to act as judge, jury, and enforcer all at once.
Wow.
And when a constitutional court appears to even partially accept this as a motivation, it inadvertently reinforces the very culture that leads to widespread custodial torture in India. It suggests that such violence might be a misguided form of discipline rather than the criminal act that it inherently is.
And beyond just the legal implications of that phrase, what about the victim's identity here? The article specifically mentions he was a Dalit man. Does that play into the larger picture?
It absolutely does, and it's another critical, often overlooked dimension. The victim's identity as a Dalit man gets tragically erased in the legal discourse.
How so?
Well, India's jurisprudence around the SCST Act, that's the Scheduled Castes and Scheduled Tribes Prevention of Atrocities Act, designed to protect marginalized communities, it often fails to truly address structural caste power.
Why is that?
Because it typically demands explicit proof of past motivation behind the violence, rather than acknowledging the, systemic realities of discrimination and violence that vulnerable communities, particularly Dalits and Adivasis, disproportionately face.
So it misses the context.
Often, yes. India has an undeniable custodial violence problem. The numbers are stark, and it disproportionately affects these communities and the poor, despite numerous Supreme Court judgments outlining safeguards.
So the crucial question this raises
Is that courts must never give moral shelter to extra-legal instincts. They need to unequivocally reinforce that violence in custody is a criminal act, not some kind of disciplinary tool.
Right.
Ultimately, we don't just need symbolic outrage. We need genuine structural change, robust application of the SCST Act, and strengthened independent accountability mechanisms to ensure justice for all.
And for you listening, this underscores the constant vigilance required to ensure that the protectors of the law don't become its transgressors. Okay, from the grave realities of justice, let's pivot to something entirely different, but equally passionate for many across India: the future of Test cricket.
Cricket.
Yes. There's a big question looming over the sport right now. Will a proposed two-tiered World Test Championship, the WTC, do more harm than good?
The big debate.
The idea on the table is to divide the 12 test-playing nations into two groups, maybe 6 and 6, or perhaps 7 and 5. Deep Dasgupta, a prominent voice, argues it could significantly improve the quality and competitiveness of matches.
Making it more watchable.
Exactly, making Test cricket far more watchable, even if not always for all 5 days. He points to competitive series like the recent India-England one as prime examples of how fan engagement skyrockets when the competition is truly fierce.
Yeah, those are great matches. And what really stands out in this discussion is how consumer behavior in cricket has evolved so dramatically.
What do you mean?
Well, while the T20 format is undeniably a global sensation, there's still a very strong, dedicated niche group of Test cricket aficionados who deeply appreciate its strategic depth and, traditional intricacies.
The purists.
You could say that. Jatin Paranjape, another expert quoted, emphasizes that the International Cricket Council, the ICC, needs to actively launch Test cricket as a product.
As a product. Interesting.
Yes. Finding a happy marriage between its philosophical priority, preserving the format's integrity, and its commercial angles. But he cautions strongly against skewing the system solely towards commercial redistribution.
Meaning just sharing the money.
Pretty much. Instead, the profound focus should be on the redistribution of opportunity.
Redistribution of opportunity. That's a crucial distinction. So it's not just about the money, but about fostering genuine growth and competitiveness across the board. Can you give us a concrete example of what that opportunity might look like for, say, a struggling Tier 2 team?
Absolutely. It means giving those second-tier teams the resources, the exposure, and crucially, the competitive matches they need to genuinely improve and aspire to the top level. Not just sharing prize money that doesn't necessarily elevate their game.
Got it. Makes sense.
Beyond that, we have the ever-present calendar crunch. The Indian Premier League, the IPL, now largely dictates the global schedule.
It certainly feels that way.
Paranjape suggests prioritizing T20 and Test cricket, perhaps even reducing what he provocatively calls inane ODI cricket at the bilateral level.
Inane. Strong word.
He believes it offers little real value to the consumer anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So for the Roger 2's working group, which is looking into this, suggestions include finding a dedicated, clear window in the global calendar just for Test cricket.
Like a protected space.
Exactly. Also controlling the unchecked spread of franchise cricket, and vitally, creating a proper league for Tier 2 teams with promotion and relegation.
Ah, that would add excitement.
Totally. It would give spectators and aspiring cricketers something concrete to look forward to, inspiring improvement and injecting fresh excitement. Ultimately, the active discussion about improving Test cricket is a very positive sign, and the BCCI, given its influence, has a crucial leadership role in developing a clear, long-term vision.
So for you, the cricket fan, this discussion is about ensuring the format you love doesn't just survive, but actually thrives.
That's the goal.
Okay, from the cricket pitch, let's dive into a sobering look at India's booming wellness sector. It's projected to reach an astounding USD 4 billion by 2033.
Huge numbers.
Huge, but there's a significant ugly side to this rapid growth that you really need to be aware of. We're hearing alarming personal stories.
Oh dear.
Take Samir, for instance, a 49-year-old from Kochi. His hair transplant nightmare led to necrotizing fasciitis, a severe flesh-eating bacterial infection, and an exposed skull. Required multiple surgeries to fix.
That's horrific. It really is. Or a homemaker in Andhra Pradesh whose advanced PRP facials resulted in severe topical steroid withdrawal from unlabeled creams she was given.
Unlabeled creams.
Oh, no.
These stories highlight a widespread and dangerous misconception that cosmetic procedures are somehow easy and safe.
Yeah, and the heart of the problem here seems to be two-pronged. Firstly, these clinics are all too often run by unqualified practitioners.
Right.
And secondly, they are frequently unlicensed or unregistered. And critically, they lack crucial tie-ups with full-fledged medical centers that could handle emergencies if something goes wrong.
And there's confusion about terms, too.
Yes, a vital distinction often blurred for the public is that dermatology is a medical specialty, requiring extensive, rigorous training. Cosmetology, on the other hand, is generally not a medical field. It involves services like haircuts, makeup, general beauty treatments, without any clinical components or invasive procedures.
So many people are inadvertently putting their trust and, well, their bodies into the hands of what they think are medical experts, but who are, in reality, not equipped for serious medical procedures.
Exactly. The article breaks down 4 concerning categories of these unqualified practitioners. You have dentists venturing into aesthetics after just short, superficial courses.
Okay.
AYUSH practitioners, that's traditional Indian medicine practitioners, who are illegally administering allopathic treatments. Completely unqualified individuals with absolutely no medical background at all.
Wow.
And even some MBBS doctors or other specialists operating outside their trained field, often lured, perhaps, by the promise of quick money.
So this begs the question about the systemic lack of enforcement, right? Despite clear guidelines from the National Medical Commission, the NMC.
Absolutely. These clinics often deceptively display names of qualified doctors who aren't even present, or they conspicuously lack essential emergency tie-ups.
And medical councils.
Well, medical councils like the IADVL, the Indian Association of Dermatologists, Venereologists, and Leprologists, and the Telangana Medical Council are taking action, but their scope is unfortunately limited. As one doctor noted, these quacks are becoming smarter, finding new ways to operate in the shadows.
So what's the upshot here? What needs to happen?
Ultimately, there's an urgent need for stricter regulation, probably through a dedicated law and direct government action to safeguard patients. And as experts consistently advise, and it's critical advice for you listening, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is.
A very important warning. Okay, let's take a deep dive now into the situation in Sri Lanka. We're focusing on why the prominent Tamil party, the ITAC, Ilankai Tamil Arasu Kachi, recently called a symbolic hurdle, a kind of general strike.
Right. What triggered that?
The immediate trigger was the tragic killing of a young Tamil man, 32-year-old Ithurmanasingham Kapilraj, in the Mullaitivu district, allegedly by military personnel.
Oh, another tragic incident.
Yeah, and it highlights that even 16 years after the devastating civil war ended, there's still a visibly greater presence of uniformed men in the Tamil majority north and east compared to the rest of the country. It's a stark reminder that the war shadow still looms large.
Indeed. And the government's stance presents, a puzzling contradiction. President Dissanayake has a stated plan to downsize the military by 2030.
Okay, that sounds positive.
But the latest budget allocates a staggering LKR 442 billion to the Ministry of Defense. That's significantly more than what's set aside for education.
Wow, so actions versus words.
And it certainly raises critical questions about the nation's priorities in this post-conflict era.
Yeah.
And what really grabbed our attention is specific data from a 2017 report on Militarisation. It found some 60,000 military personnel among just over 130,000 civilians in that district alone.
60,000, that's an enormous ratio.
It's an alarming imbalance, a constant oppressive presence, you could argue. And beyond that, the military is controversially involved in running local businesses, everything from hotels and restaurants to farms.
Competing with locals.
Directly competing with local people who are desperately trying to rebuild their lives and livelihoods after decades of conflict.
So it's not just a physical presence, but an economic one too, potentially stifling the very recovery it's meant to protect. It sounds like a constant systemic pressure.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
Furthermore, Tamil parliamentarians have made serious accusations, alleging military involvement in fostering drug dependency among Tamil youth in the region.
Really? That's a heavy accusation.
Very heavy. One MP even went so far as to claim they are the biggest peddlers of drugs in the north and east. Now, to put this in a broader context, the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights has explicitly urged Sri Lanka to reform its security sector,
What are they asking for?
to avoid military involvement in civilian affairs, and to significantly reduce its presence in the northern and eastern provinces. This ongoing militarization truly casts a long, dark shadow over any genuine peace process and the lives of those trying to move forward.
And for you listening, this highlights how fragile peace can be if the underlying issues of security sector reform and economic opportunity aren't comprehensively addressed.
A crucial point.
Okay, moving to another critical and frankly quite surprising issue. We uncover a truly significant gender disparity in organ donation in India.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Data from NATO, that's the National Organ and Tissue Transplant Organization spanning 2019 to 2023, it paints a stark picture. A staggering 63.8% of living organ donors were women.
Wow, nearly two-thirds.
Exactly. Yet men received 69.8% of the organs,
So wait, women donated far more.
but received far less, yes. In response to this deeply imbalanced situation, NATO has issued a new directive. Women, patients, and relatives of deceased donors will now receive priority in organ allocation.
Okay, that's a big step, but what stands out in this analysis is trying to understand the underlying reasons for this profound disparity.
Yeah, why is it happening?
Well, common obstacles, globally and in India, include a general lack of awareness, persistent cultural myths surrounding organ donation, and a pervasive hesitation to discuss such sensitive topics within families.
Sure, those are barriers everywhere.
But beyond that, for women specifically, there can be societal pressure or maybe an expectation that they will be the primary caregivers and, by extension, the primary donors within a family unit,
The traditional roles playing out.
possibly. And the scale of the overall problem is immense. Globally, only about 10% of the worldwide need for organ transplants is met. In India, despite 1.8 lakh people developing end-stage kidney disease annually, only around 12,000 kidney transplants actually occur.
So it's not just a gender imbalance within the system, but a general critical shortage of organs right across the board.
Exactly. And NATO's broader advisory to states aims to tackle this overall shortage. It includes creating permanent posts for transplant coordinators to streamline the process,
That sounds important.
developing retrieval facilities and trauma centers, and critically, training emergency responders to identify potential deceased donors, particularly among victims of road traffic accidents and stroke patients, where the potential for donation is often missed.
So the crucial question this brings up is, what is the incredible life-saving potential here?
It's huge. A single donor can potentially save up to 8 lives through organ donation and enhance many more through tissue donation, like corneas and skin.
8 lives from one person. Amazing.
It is. And while appeals for organs are vital and do increase donors, it's important to remember for you, the listener, that they don't jump a patient up the waiting list. Strict ethical rules for matching and allocation still apply to ensure fairness and medical necessity are the primary drivers.
Good to clarify that. Okay, finally, let's turn our attention to a concerning trend from Bihar. The Special Intensive Revision, or SIRAR, of electoral rolls has resulted in the exclusion of around 65 lakh electors.
65 lakh, that's a massive number.
It is, and what's particularly troubling is its disproportionate impact on migrant women. Let's really unpack this. Granular data from the top 9 constituencies shows that a striking 56% of these deletions were female electors.
Over half.
Yes. And even more alarming, 66%, two-thirds of female deletions for permanently shifted, were in the crucial 1839 age group.
Prime working and marrying age.
Exactly. This points directly to the en masse exclusion of married women, given that marriage is by far the predominant cause of female migration in India. It accounted for 85.7% of female migrants in Bihar, according to the 2011 census.
Wow. So the process is hitting married women hardest. What's the underlying issue here that makes it so problematic?
Well, it seems to be the legal ambiguity around ordinary residence in the Representation of the People Act, 1950.
A key term, but undefined.
Exactly. It's undefined, leaving ample room for arbitrary deletions by local officials. And the Bihar SAR process added what the source calls an extra-legal criterion, a strict 30-day window for submitting forms.
Which is tough for migrants.
Inherently hostile towards migrants, especially women who often move due to marriage and might take time to settle and sort paperwork.
And the Election Commission's justification.
Well, it mentions education, livelihood, and other reasons for migration, but it conspicuously, almost glaringly, fails to include marriage.
That seems like a huge oversight.
It does, and deleting these electors without ensuring automatic re-enrollment in their new residence doesn't just neglect them, it amounts to outright disenfranchisement.
So this isn't merely an administrative oversight. It feels like a systemic issue that profoundly affects voting rights, particularly for women who might already be facing social and economic challenges after moving.
Indeed. And when we connect this to the broader implications, the source strongly suggests that the Election Commission's unwarranted obsession with foreign illegal migrants has unfortunately deflected attention from these critical domestic disenfranchisement issues.
Shifting the focus inappropriately.
Perhaps. So immediate solutions are not just desirable, they feel crucial. Things like extending the deadline for claims and objections.
Makes sense.
Re-verifying permanently shifted and untraceable categories with a more nuanced approach. Ensuring mandatory re-enrollment when a person moves.
Like automatic registration transfer.
Exactly. And fundamentally, giving female electors the choice of where their name is registered, whether it's their natal or marital household. This empowers them with agency instead of allowing arbitrary deletions based on their marital status or migration due to marriage.
Giving them control.
Right. So for you listening, this highlights the subtle but powerful ways administrative processes can either empower or disempower millions, and why vigilance over electoral rolls is truly a cornerstone of democratic participation.
Well said.
Thank you for listening. If today's episode gave you something useful, consider following us on Spotify so you're the first to hear the next one. You can give suggestions by contacting our Twitter handle given in the episode description. As always, we are eager to hear what our listeners want to be informed about. We wish you a great day.